we invented the words 360 degrees, and now everyone is using it, and I hardly use it now for that very reason. But I also think the business has moved on, frankly, and what people used to describe as integration was quite a superficial form of integration. Integration more or less at the end of the process with everything looking the same. And I think the important integration is integration that happens up front strategically. So we have some other words which we use. Fusion is one, but we're careful. There's nothing wrong with talking about integration, but you have to define how it's being used in order to be sure that it's not something which is just essentially rather superficial. Well, I think the industry's been a bit weak, especially during the recession, in terms of doing the things that it should do so far as recruitment is concerned. And there's no doubt in my mind that we have an obligation to ourselves and to the rest of the industry to go out and attract the brightest graduates into our business. Now, in some countries that's done very well. For instance, in the United States, we've got a superb associates program that takes 25 people a year, and it's a very exhaustive process. It takes a lot of time and guts and effort to get through that process, and at the end of the day I can see the benefit of it, and I've now known essentially 3 cadres of associates, one that was there before I joined and one that's coming in and one in the middle. And that's 75 people in the agency, 75 people out of 2,000, and they are a pool of talent. Now, we will lose some of those people, and I don't mind, because I think it's just important from the industry point of view to bring them in. But they're trained for 1 year, so this is a big investment. They're not just brought in and then told to get on with it. They are trained for a year, and there's a huge investment in time on behalf of the people who train them, not just insiders but also outsiders. So we're not talking about something for the faint-hearted. And in markets which are recently developed, like India, I'm not sure there is yet that industry commitment to do it systematically. I think it's done, but it's not done systematically, and that's something which should change. Well, it's honestly difficult to comment on, because it's a point really that you're making about business ethics and maybe even also governmental ethics. Now, I happen to believe that free economy depends on ethics, and that if you start to have corruption baked into the system, ultimately it's bad for the economy and bad for individual welfare and so on and so forth. That's just a personal point of view, and you can't go around the world and say that every country lives up to that at all, and even countries that uphold those beliefs in public, such as the UK and the US, have their corruption issues as well, maybe lower key, but they do exist. But when it impacts business, it's absolutely vicious in my view. The interesting thing, of course, is that the internet has created a new phenomenon of total transparency, which means that we know much more than we used to know. So in that context, I think it's terribly important for companies to be clear what their company stands for, what its values are, and then to live up to those values. There is no hiding place now, actually. You can't run away from it. You'll be outed, and once you're outed, that's it. Then you have to learn how to defend yourself. So I feel that on the whole, transparency is a good thing, because it puts the spotlight on companies and allows you to distinguish those that really mean what they say and go through with it, and those that are just posturing and are half-baked in what they believe.